Primetime entertainment on a Sunday afternoon. Final score at the Emirates, Arsenal 1, Manchester City 1. And yes, all of our bellies are full tonight because we enjoyed this entertainment. I did. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely did. And let's start with Manchester City. Now, Pep Guardiola almost saw his plan work to perfection. And to a certain extent, even though Manchester City conceded that late goal, I do want to give some credit to Pep because one thing I'll give him is he's able to adapt. He knew exactly going into this game that there was no need to go band for band with Arsenal in terms of having possession and see who can keep the ball the longest and all of that. There was no need for Manchester City to do that. So I actually rate Pep for going to the Emirates away from home and actually not changing his tactics, but just change the approach a little bit. Still playing some of his best players, but changing the approach. Very early into the game, you saw Arsenal have a lot of possession. You saw Manchester City behind the ball, defending very low. And you just knew if they get one chance, it's curtains. And that's exactly what happened. 9th minute of the game. Manchester City win the ball back after Arsenal tried to launch an attack and they lost the ball. The ball gets played into Erling Haaland. Haaland, hold up play. Massively improved. Honestly, credit to him because he must have worked on that during the summer. Perfect hold-up play, plays it through the gap between two Arsenal players into Reinders. Reinders goes on an insane run. He's got Doku with him on his left, and I was screaming at the TV and I was like, play it to your left, play it to your left. But it was very smart from Reinders to wait for Haaland, who was busting his gut to get into the box. Haaland gets into the box. The speed was absolutely insane. He left Gabriel behind him. Saliba was so focused on the Reinders that he actually, I know he saw Haaland make the run, but he didn't focus on Haaland. So that was really smart from Reinders to wait for Haaland, slides it through to Haaland. Haaland slots it in to make it 1-0. And I'd like to see a stat, if there is one, of how many 1v1s Haaland has scored versus how many 1v1s he's missed, because I'm very sure, at least 90% of his 1v1s, Haaland scores. That conversion rate alone is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Haaland gets his goal, and from that moment on, you're thinking, oh, this is what Pep's plan is. Okay, I can rock with that. I can definitely rock with that. And for large parts of the game, I actually agreed, and I actually thought that Pep's plan was tailor-made just for this game. Don't get me wrong. I don't think Manchester City will go into every single game playing like that. But it worked for this game. Now Arsenal tried. And to a certain extent, even though I give Pep his credit, you can tell that Pep's been in the country for a long time because what he switched to in the second half was so funny. There was pictures of him being posted with Neil Warnock. There was comparisons being made between him and Sam Allardyce. Like, he went to a 5-4-0 almost because he took off his striker, which was a big mistake, by the way. I don't think Pep should have taken off Haaland because Haaland, even though he looked tired and really worked his socks off, he was an outlet. He was a nuisance. He was, giving those battles to Saliba. He was giving those battles to Gabriel. Just, giving those two centre-backs something to think about. So I think taking off Doku was a mistake. Taking off Haaland was a mistake as well. And I think that actually led that super defensive-minded mindset from Pep. Even though the defensive approach was good, that super defensive mindset proved to be the wrong one because in the end, one lapse of concentration and Arsenal deservedly scored because Arsenal were knocking on the door for large parts of the first half, large parts of the second half. A couple of players that I want to give their flowers because even though Manchester City drew this game, I do think it's 1 point gained for Man City and 2 points lost for Arsenal. That's how I see it. So I want to give Erling Haaland his props because, like I said, his hold-up play has massively improved. And just the way he plays overall, his overall play has improved. And you can tell this is somebody who worked on that. Jeremy Doku. Yeah. Honestly, that was an outstanding performance from him today. There's a case for him to get man of the match because he was absolutely outstanding. He was giving Timber one hell of a game throughout the whole game, being a nuisance, winning so many fouls, not using his speed too much, which I think was very smart as well, because usually he just uses his speed and tries to get past his opponent round the outside, and sometimes he'll do the little jink and try and cut inside. Very smart in choosing his moments, when to make the runs and when to go past his opponent today, which I thought was really, really good. So credit to Jeremy Doku as well. I also have to give credit to Gianluigi Donnarumma. Now, for the goal, I do think there was a bit of anticipation. He wanted to come out, but it was a bit too late. So I don't think it's fully on him. I think the goal that City actually conceded, I think that, again, it was a lapse of concentration. And you could tell by the still that they showed on TV after the game, by the time the pass was made, the defenders just weren't thinking about Martinelli making a run. And by the time he already made the run, it was too late. So I do think that the back line, there was 5 of them. I think they should have dealt with this a bit better. So yeah, back to Gianluigi Donnarumma. I think he's an outstanding goalkeeper. Exactly what Manchester City needs. Look at all the crosses that Arsenal put in. Look at all the corners that Arsenal put in. Donnarumma claimed all of them. I'm sure it's at least 95% of them. Every time Arsenal put in a cross, Donnarumma came out to claim it. Every time there's a corner and it was whipped in, Donnarumma was there to claim it. Like, he commanded his box. And that's when you know you've got a proper goalkeeper on your hands. So Man City, credit for the business that you've done to snap him up quickly and to make him your number one, because that, again, minus the goal, was an outstanding performance from Donnarumma. But we have to talk about Arsenal. Arsenal, in the end, it's a deserved goal. But like I said, it's 2 points dropped for them. And one thing I'll say is I'll give credit to Arsenal for knocking on the door for large parts of the game. They knocked and knocked and knocked, created chances, knocked the ball around, tried to put in crosses, tried to be dangerous via corners. But that's where my issue lies. And this is where I have to turn my attention, not even to the players that much, if I'm honest. My attention has to turn towards the manager. Arteta has a very natural inclination to be negative. You just have to look at the lineup. He played 4 centre-backs and 3 DMs against Manchester City in a must-win game. A game that could have put Arsenal closer to Liverpool, because now in the table, Arsenal are 5 points behind Liverpool. And they've got Newcastle away next week. Arsenal, I don't know, because Liverpool, they've got Crystal Palace away. Now, don't get me wrong, that's not going to be easy, but everyone's prediction is going to be that Liverpool wins it, even if it's a jammy 1-0 like they did against Burnley. So back to Arteta. Arteta has a very natural inclination to be negative. 4 centre-backs and 3 DMs in a must-win game against Manchester City is not it. You know how my point can be proven? Arteta made 2 attacking changes at halftime. 2 attacking changes that could have been avoided by just starting those 2. And all of the attacking changes that followed afterwards could have been made by starting those players, because I firmly believe if Arteta starts this game, starting Eze in the 10, starting Martinelli maybe on one of the wings. Trossard wasn't bad, but I think Martinelli could have started. Starting Saka, because he came on and had an impact as well. If any of those 3 or 3 of them start, Arsenal win this game. They do. And this is why I say Arteta has a natural inclination to be negative, because I'm looking at, what was it, last season or the season before that? He drew 14 games. And that was due to his inclination of being negative, or his way of naturally setting his team up to be negative. For the first half an hour, Arsenal had to rely on long throw-ins and corners. Forget the corners, because that's their thing. So we'll leave that to the side. Long throw-ins from Declan Rice and Calafiori. Are you serious? With all the talent that Arsenal have on that pitch? If I was an Arsenal fan, I wouldn't accept that, because with all the money that was spent, all the investments that were being made, all this amazing summer that Arsenal had in terms of transfers, resulting into long throw-ins in the first half an hour, and Arsenal have to rely on that to score goals. That's not good enough. And ultimately, if Arsenal keep up that trend, they will always fall short. They're going to win games. They are going to win games, no doubt about it. But against the Big Six, you will win games as well, but you will draw a lot of them. And all these draws, like I always say, at the end of the season, you're going to look back and say, should have won this game. Because if, let's say, Arsenal go toe-to-toe with Liverpool, which is a possibility. And at the end of the season, Arsenal missed 2 points to win the title. Guess what game they're going to be looking at? This one here. Oh, we should have won against Man City. We should have started. Well, your manager sets your team up negatively. He's a reactive manager. Because he sets his team up negatively for draws and narrow wins, he's reactive to what's happening. If he sees that his team is in trouble, he reacts. That's when he brings on the changes, and the changes make the difference. Same thing that happened against Bilbao. So it's one of them where you look at Arsenal and you go, listen, great team, great talent, but very, very negative approach from Arsenal, from the manager, I should say. So you could arguably say, despite them deserving that goal in the end, that pass from Eze, chef's kiss. And speaking of Eze, when I saw that starting lineup, I kind of smiled because I was like, I did warn Arsenal fans that Mikel Arteta is going to play everybody else in that squad in the number 10 role. Or no, I should say Mikel Arteta is going to start everyone else in that squad in that number 10 role before he starts Waneri or Eze in the 10. I warned Arsenal fans and they thought I was a hater. You know how Arsenal fans do. They get emotional and they start saying whatever. But look at it now. Was it not Eze coming on in the 10 and making an impact, getting the assist? I promise you, if Eze starts in that 10, you win the game. Arsenal win the game. It's as simple as that. So yeah, very entertaining Sunday afternoon. Proper enjoyed it. Arsenal draw against Manchester City. Arsenal play Newcastle next week away from home. You know that's going to be tough. And Liverpool are actually the winners of this weekend because United beat Chelsea. Arsenal drew against Man City. There you go. Tottenham drew as well. So Liverpool are the winners. And next week they go to Crystal Palace away. If they win, that's a possible, that's if Arsenal lose, yeah? Possible 8 points clear of Arsenal already in game week 6. And that's another thing. The fact that Arsenal had to rely in the first half an hour, that is, on long throw-ins and corners. I'm thinking, Arteta's running out of ideas in game week 6 already. I don't know, people. I don't know. But listen, let me know what you think in the comment section below. It's road to 20k, closing in on 19. You know what to do. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And I shall see you very soon, people. Bye-bye.